Hi, good evening, and welcome back to the Roznama daily newspaper analysis for the 6th of February. So let's get started. I have a range of articles from geopolitics to terminology to the constitution, which I want to get into today. So let's make a start. The first thing is not from the newspaper, but I just wanted to flag that today, the 6th of February, is the UN International Day of zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. So, as you might be aware, the practice of female genital mutilation does exist across many cultures and tribes across the world. And this International Day, which is today on the 6th of February, is a day protesting against this practice of female genital mutilation. Now, how is female genital mutilation defined? I've given you a short extract from the UN website. It is the injury of female genitalia for non-medical reasons. Okay, so of course, if there is a medical necessity, we do not define it as female genital mutilation. So this year, the theme is towards 2030, no end to female genital mutilation without sustained commitment and investment. So that is the theme of the UN International Day of Zero Tolerance for female genital mutilation. Okay, so I just want you to make a note of that. Let's proceed to the first article. Now, this is something we have touched upon yesterday, I believe. So, what is the news story? It says, for drivers, by drivers. How Bharat Taxi app hopes to be a game changer. Now, what is Bharat Taxi? So, Bharat Taxi has been launched as India's first cooperative taxi service. Now, as you all know, what is a cooperative or cooperative society? It is totally different from a company in that those who are the workers who put in the effort into the activity are the members, shareholders, and ultimate beneficiaries of the business. Okay, unlike a company where the person who puts up the capital or the money, he is the beneficiary, not the workers who do the actual work. Okay, cooperatives have been given an important place in our constitution, especially through the 97th Amendment Act of 2011. Okay, and this made three primary changes. Number one, it added the right to form cooperative societies as a fundamental right in Article 19(1)(c). So now it reads the right to form unions, associations, and cooperative societies. Who has this right? It is the citizens of India who have this right. Second, it added Article 43(b) in the Directive Principles of State Policy, basically endeavoring the state to promote cooperative society. And finally, it added a whole part to the Constitution called Part 9(b), which gives the details about the governance of cooperative society. However, the Supreme Court in a judgment made it clear that Part 9(b) only applies to multi-state cooperative societies. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, what is the news here? That India's first cooperative taxi service has been launched. Its name is Bharat Taxi. Okay, and there are the biggest cooperative organizations in the country have come together to make this a reality, including Amul. Okay, who is the Minister of Cooperation in India? It is the same as the Minister of Home Affairs, which is Amit Shah. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Okay, just one last point. It mentions for drivers, by drivers. So in this app, the drivers are known as Sarathis, Saarthis. Okay, now let's move forward. The next news item we have, as you know, in recent days, there has been a whole lot of news relating to India and trade agreements. Number one, we actually concluded the free trade agreement with the European Union, right? This is at the time when the president of the European Commission and the European Council were here in India as chief guests of the Republic Day parade. Number two, very recently, we saw a news story relating to a deal reached by India and the US relating to tariffs, whereby it was agreed that the earlier 25 plus 25, 50% tariff would now stand reduced to 18%. Now, this top line finalization was done. Its nitty-gritties and details are going to come out over the next few days, as you can see announced in these news stories from today. Okay, since trade is an important topic this year, remember who is this person? The Minister of Commerce and Industry. His name is Piyush Goyal. Okay, his name is Piyush Goyal. All right. Now, today there was another piece of news relating to India and trade. That is that India and GCC nations, okay, have decided to begin negotiations for a free trade agreement. Okay, so first, let's begin with the GCC. So what is the GCC? It is the Gulf Cooperation Council. The full name is the Cooperation Council for the Arab States in the Gulf. This is a body made up of 6 countries. All these 6 countries are monarchies. You can see it in this article here. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. Some of these are absolute monarchies, some are constitutional monarchies, whereas one, which is the UAE, is a federal monarchy. So it is headquartered in Riyadh. It is made up of 6 members who are all different types of monarchies. And this body was established in 1981. Okay, and what is the news for today? It is that India and the Gulf Cooperation Council and the countries involved in the GCC have signed the terms of reference to begin trade talks towards a free trade agreement. So this is something to keep an eye out for. It likely will reach some sort of fruition later in this year. Okay, moving forward, let's go to our next topic. Now, this is something that was announced in the newspaper. It's a meeting that's already occurred. What is that? Today, there was a meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee. Okay, so the meeting was done. Today, the outcome of that meeting was to be announced. Okay, so I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss with you what is the Monetary Policy Committee. But before that, as you already know, who is the RBI governor? His name is Sanjay Malhotra. Okay, now, what is the Monetary Policy Committee? This is a committee which is mandated now by an act of parliament. How many members are there in the MPC? 6 members. 3 of them represent the RBI. 3 of them represent the government of India. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. So when we talk about the Monetary Policy Committee, this is a 6-member body. Okay. 3 people represent the Reserve Bank of India and 3 people represent the government of India. from the Reserve Bank of India, one of the people who represents the RBI is the governor of the RBI, that is Sanjay Malhotra. Okay, so a six-member body in which three are from the RBI, three are from the government. Who is the chair of this committee? It is the governor of the RBI, ex officio. So always remember, whoever is the governor of the Reserve Bank of India is also the chairperson of the Monetary Policy Committee. And if there is a deadlock, 3:3, then who breaks the tie? It is again the chairperson of the Monetary Policy Committee or the Reserve Bank of India governor. Okay, what is their core job? Their core job is to decide the interest rates, right? So what is that top line rate? The repo rate, which impacts all of the other rates and ratios set by the Reserve Bank. Okay, so that is the purpose of the Monetary Policy Committee. I just wanted to cover the background details with you. The specifics of what was done by the Monetary Policy Committee will come in tomorrow's newspaper, and we will cover it in tomorrow's newspaper analysis. Let's move on. The next piece of news, which was very prominent today, was the announcement of an agreement. Okay, now this news item here mentions that it is a tripartite agreement. What is the meaning of a tripartite agreement? The meaning of a tripartite agreement is that there are three parties. So in this agreement, who are the three parties? Number one, the union government. Number two, the government of Nagaland. And number three, the party or group which was protesting for this out. Okay, so what was the name of that organization? The article on the right here is from the Hindu. So it mentions that a tripartite agreement was reached between the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, or ENPO, the Nagaland government, and the Union Home Ministry. Okay, so representative of the union government, representative of the state government, and the ENPO, the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization. What have they agreed to? They have agreed that a new body will be created called the Frontier Nagaland Territorial Authority, or the FNTA, the Frontier Nagaland Territorial Authority. This authority will function under the state government, but will have some autonomy in that particular region. So an important piece of news, please keep this in mind. Such agreements have been signed many times in the history of the northeastern part of India, where various groups demand autonomy, regional autonomy. Okay, this is also intrinsically linked with tribal rights. Okay, so in this case, in Nagaland, a new agreement has been reached between the union, the state, and the ENPO, the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, for the establishment of a new authority called the FNTA, which is the Frontier Nagaland Territorial Authority. Okay, next in today's newspaper, this is a quick flashback to Republic Day and the Padma Awards. If you remember, we discussed that this year, 5 people were awarded India's second highest civilian honor, that is the Padma Vibhushan. One of those people was V.S. Achuthanandan. Okay, he was awarded the Padma Vibhushan posthumously. So he is a famous leader from CPIM, or the Communist Party of India, Marxist. Okay, so just a small update was that his family said that they would consult the party, which is the CPIM, on whether this award should be accepted. Why? Because it has been a long-standing policy of the Communist Party of India, Marxist, not to accept official honors given by the government. Okay, so I just wanted to take you back to this and to remind you that 5 people were awarded the Padma Vibhushan, which is India's second highest honor. Okay, now this article is essentially an editorial or opinion piece regarding the budget. Okay, and the title says the budget has delivered a googly, the retrospective tax. Now, in general, what is a retrospective tax? It is a tax that has not been announced in advance. That is to say, if I have earned some income in the year 2020, right, and I did not have to pay any tax on it because of a scheme of the government. Now, in 2026, the government passes a law and says I have to pay tax on an income I earned 5 years ago in 2020. This is the classic example of a retrospective tax, right? A tax applied to prior income or transactions or whatever it is, not announced before that income or transaction has been made. Now, what does this article flag? This article flags that an underreported aspect of the budget for 26-27 has been a retrospective tax. On what? A retrospective tax on capital gains due to the purchase of SGBs. Now, this is an abbreviation that you must know about. What is an SGB? It stands for Sovereign Gold Bonds. This was basically a scheme of the government of India under which citizens could purchase gold from the government, right? And it entailed that there would be certain amount of interest that was earned. Okay, so my purpose here is not to go into the details of the SGB scheme. It's not relevant for your exam, but this article flags that in this year's budget, there is an announcement that there will be capital gains taxes on the purchase of sovereign gold bonds. Okay, this scheme of the government ended up backfiring because the price of gold rose dramatically after the government had already announced the scheme. So this retrospective tax is possibly a way for the government to recoup some of that money. So I just wanted to flag it for you. In fact, in this article, Surjit Bhalla says that many people asked me to write a review of the budget, on the day of the budget, but I refused because I have been burned from experience that something or the other always comes out in the days after the budget. According to him, that googly is a retrospective capital gains tax on sovereign gold bonds. Okay, moving on. This is an article I wanted to flag for you. It's written by Manoj Kumar Jha, who is a professor and the National Secretary of the Rashtriya Janata Dal from Bihar. Okay, so it's a lovely article. The title is "My Surname Does Not Frame My Politics. I Am a Teacher and Citizen Too." The crux of this article, he says that many people often abuse him or are surprised when he takes certain positions related to caste and affirmative action. And why do they take offense at his positions? Because supposedly they don't match the expectations of what a person with his surname should think. So he says this sort of thought process is absolutely against constitutional morality. I would seriously advise you to read this piece. And if you log into today's Roznama, the English section's practice is based on this article. You can log in, of course, on clatpossible.com. It's free for everyone to use. Okay, so I wanted to flag this article for you. there are at least 10 prominent, good, difficult words which can aid you in your vocabulary practice. Moving forward, this explainer was written today. It says India's Russia challenge, balance old ties and new reality. So this is written in the context of the reduction of tariffs for India by the US from 50% to 18%. Now, when this was announced by Trump, he wrote that he was doing this because India had agreed not to buy oil from Russia. No such confirmation has been given by the government of India. But you know how Trump is. He made the announcement nevertheless. Okay. So this article basically flags this difficult reality that India has to balance its relations between the United States and Russia. Okay. Which is why they use the word here, which is tight rope, right? India has to walk a tight rope, right? Meaning India is in a difficult situation. It has to balance its relations with both of the world's superpowers. Moving forward, something very important which happened yesterday. If you've been following along with the top 5 news stories in the Roznama, yesterday we had flagged that the New START treaty expired yesterday on the 5th of Feb. Okay. Now, who was the New START treaty between? It was between the United States and Russia. Okay. And it comes in a long history of such treaties signed between the US and Russia to reduce their weapons stockpiles, nuclear weapons and otherwise. So before New START, there was START 1, START 2, there was SALT or the Moscow Treaty, the ABM Treaty, the INF Treaty or agreement. So there have been many initiatives like this, but one of the last remaining treaties between the US and Russia on reducing armaments ended yesterday. So what does START stand for? Remember, the name is New START. So it is new, and then what is START? ST stands for strategic, and what is ART? Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. Okay, so what has ended yesterday? The new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. Okay, that has expired on the 5th of February 2026. Okay, an important topic. The words linked to it, which you must know, are disarmament, non-proliferation. Okay, all right. So please do read about this. It is important. As you can see, NATO is returning to the news again and again. So this is a topic to keep in mind. There'll be a NATO summit mid-year, which will also be important. Okay. So this was another article on the same topic. Moving forward, as you know, over the last few days, the World Governments Summit had been taking place, right? Under the theme, Shaping the Future of Governments. Where does this event take place? It takes place in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Now, that is a separate topic. At this event, the Global Teacher Prize was given, and an Indian teacher won this award. Okay, so the winner of this award gets $1 million as a prize. So who is it that has won this prize from India? It is Rubal Nagi, Rouble Nagi, Rubal Nagi. She is the winner of the Global Teacher Prize given by the Varkey Foundation. Okay, so this is one of those one-liners. Know the Varkey Foundation, which gives the Global Teacher Prize, this year given to an Indian, Rubal Nagi. What is the prize money? $1 million. Okay. Now, I wanted to flag this for you. It's a very disturbing yet interesting article written in the Hindu today. It's a full page. It talks about this term, which is cyberchondria. Okay. Now, I will take you through the meaning. This is why I had highlighted and flagged it. So if we take a look at this article, it defines what is cyberchondria. Now, first, it tells us about a related word, which is hypochondria. You can see it at the bottom here. Hypochondria is illness anxiety disorder. Okay, so people who suffer from hypochondria or illness anxiety disorder are known as hypochondriacs. Okay, they easily become convinced that they are suffering from some or the other disease or disorder. Now, from this word, a new term has been coined called cyberchondria. Okay, so let us know the meaning of this word. So it says cyberchondria is an excessive anxiety-driven online health search that has emerged as a significant mental condition in the digital age. Okay, so cyberchondria. Okay, essentially hyperchondria, which is supercharged by the advent of the digital era. Okay, so I wanted to flag this article for you, primarily to tell you the meaning of the word cyberchondria. Next, we have news stories here relating to the adoption or passage of the motion of thanks. So I wanted to flag this basically to discuss what is the motion of thanks. Okay, now as you know, at the parliamentary level, the president has to give a speech to parliament at the beginning of the first session after an election and at the beginning of the first session of each calendar year. Similar is the requirement for governors in the states, right? Now, once the president or the governor at the union or state level respectively has given the speech, there ensues a debate, right? Remember, the constitutional duty of presidents and governors is to read out the speech which is written for them by the prime minister and his or her council of ministers, or at the state level, the chief minister and his or her council of ministers. Okay, so once the president gives that speech in the parliament, or once the governor gives that speech in the state legislature, a debate takes place. What is the debate? That is styled as the motion of thanks. Okay, so what is the motion in the parliament or in the state legislature? A motion to thank the president or governor for delivering the speech. And the debate on this motion is essentially a debate on the policies and proposals of the government of the day. Okay, so you might have heard that there has been great ruckus in the parliament over the last few days, several protests. The government refused to have a discussion on certain issues and so on and so forth. At any rate, ultimately the motion of thanks was passed in both houses. Okay, so just remember what is the motion of thanks. All right, moving forward, the next article relates to the governor's side of this. So today in the newspaper, a conversation has been curated in the Hindu, which talks about should the governor's address be scrapped. Right now, you might remember in the first session in various state legislatures, there have been problems in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, and in Kerala, where the respective governors have either walked out without reading their speeches written by the CM and the council, or they read part of it and did not read a part of it, and so on and so forth. So this was a whole article dedicated to the history, background, the constitutional aspects, and to answer the question, should this whole concept be scrapped? If you want to practice questions on this topic from a legal reasoning perspective, you can log into today's Roznama. Okay. Now, importantly, which article talks about the governor giving this speech? It is Article 176 of the Constitution. Related to this, you must remember who appoints a governor. It is the president. And the governor serves for 5 years, but at the pleasure of the president, which means there is no particular process for impeachment or removal. It is simply open to the president to remove a governor. Okay. And the president can do that, of course, on the advice of the PM and the Union Council of Ministers. Okay. So an important article, do practice the questions related to this topic as well. Okay. We don't have to get into it. I flagged it from a GK perspective. The Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, which is Omar Abdullah, essentially stated that this whole concept of union territories with legislative assemblies should be done away with, which is to say, either you are a state with all the powers of a state, that is, you have a CM, you have a legislature, you are independent from the union government, or else let it be a union territory. My question, GK question for you is, which 3 union territories have chief ministers and legislative assembly? The answer is number 1, Delhi, number 2, Jammu and Kashmir, and number 3, Puducherry. Okay, so that is what I want you to remember relating to this article. The next one I have again flagged for a reminder, a one-liner, the full form of MGN REGS or MGN REGA and its replacement VBG Ram G. Okay, so both of those full forms, please revise them today. Okay, moving forward, we have an article talking about the fading away of India's environmental jurisprudence. Okay, so this mentions a lot of important things, but what is it that you have to remember? The portions added to the Constitution relating to the environment. What are those? Number 1, Article 48A in the Directive Principles of State Policy, Part 4, and number 2, Article 51AG, which is a fundamental duty. Remember, both of these were added by which amendment to the Constitution? The 42nd Amendment of the Constitution. This article talks about various environmental cases which have come up in the courts recently and the problems associated with them. So in this article, you will find addressed the Aravali issue as well as the issue about post facto environmental clearance. Okay, so please do go through it. It's from the Hindu, and in fact, it is written by Professor Faizan Mustafa, who was previously the Vice Chancellor of Nalsar, Hyderabad, and right now is the Vice Chancellor of CNLU, Patna. Okay, so do go through this article. Now, a few one-liners. Number 1, what is the DAC? It is the Defense Acquisition Council. This is a body that has to approve purchase of new weapons, weapon systems, defense systems, machinery, etc. when it comes to the Ministry of Defense. Okay, so who is the chair of the Defense Acquisition Council? It is the Minister of Defense, ex officio. Who is that right now? Rajnath Singh. Who was the first defense minister of independent India? It was Sardar Baldev. Okay. Second, I wanted to flag the mention of BCCI. So both the Board for Control of Cricket in India and the International Cricket Council have been in the news in recent days, especially relating to Pakistan. So what I want you to do for homework is to find out the president of the International Cricket Council and the president of the Board for the Control of Cricket in India. The last piece of homework for you is to find out the name of the chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission. So these were a few points. I wanted to give you a little bit of homework. Thanks for tuning in. Today we've covered a good range of important newspaper articles from the Indian Express as well as the Hindu. As always, stay tuned, do subscribe to our channel, and always remember you can sign in and access the Roznama, which is effectively a daily mini Clat, to practice every section every day on that day's editorial. So you can log into the Roznama at clatpossible.com. Lovely to see you all this evening. Goodbye. Hope to see you in tomorrow's daily newspaper analysis. Thank you.